Hi everyone, it is day 36 of my live 77-day video challenge. I'm almost at the midway point. This is Heart and Soul with Evelyn. Yesterday I was talking a little bit about my graduation at Southwest Texas State University, which is now called Texas State University. This is a bit of a vintage t-shirt that I have here from my alma mater. And I wanted to talk a little bit about LBJ. Now, Lyndon Baines Johnson was the 36th U.S. president, and an alumni from the college that I went to. And he is the only president who was born in Texas. So there you go. So I was just thinking I'd speak a little bit about Lyndon Baines Johnson. Now, of course, he became president. This is 2 hours. He was sworn in as president shortly after JFK was assassinated. About 2 hours, a little bit over 2 hours. He was sworn in as the 36th president, and he received a lot of support. And at the beginning of his term, he was quite popular. He was also someone who really did believe in, caring for people. He was into civil rights. He passed the Civil Rights Act of 1964, and this law ended segregation, meaning that black and white people, they could use the same schools, restaurants, and public places. He also, in 1965, he passed the Voting Rights Act, which made it easier for black Americans to vote by stopping unfair rules. And also the Fair Housing Act he passed in 1968, making it illegal to refuse to sell or rent homes to people because of their race, religion, or nationality. So he was really a president for the people. And hey Lou, how are you? He was also into making life better for everyone, especially for people who were poor. He established Medicare, Medicaid, food stamps, and there was so much that he did. He was into the environment, started the Clean Air Act, the Water Quality Act of America as well, was into space exploration. But what was his downfall was, of course, the Vietnam War. He sent a lot of U.S. soldiers to fight in the Vietnam War. He ordered heavy bombing, and the war lasted a long time with huge casualties. And there were troubles at home because with these new laws, with the Civil Rights Act, because he changed things so quickly, there were lots of protests. So he wasn't very popular at the end. However, when people look at his legacy of the achievements that he did domestically, he did make a lot of difference that are still prevalent today. Of course, the Civil Rights Act, social welfare, his domestic policy was fantastic for that time. He was really forward thinking, but of course that polarizing role in the Vietnam War did not help him at all. But I want to talk about, so I just wanted to briefly talk about his life, what he did as a president, but he also was a very monumental figure at my university. So at my university, we have got a huge student center, which is called the LBJ Student Center. Now, the student center that I used to go to is this small one right here. It was just within the buildings. And I worked, here we go. It's a bit hard here. Okay. So I worked there. No, where's my finger? Here we go. I worked there. I was at the candy counter, and that was in the 80s. However, in 1998, they opened a much bigger LBJ Student Center, and in it they have places you can study. They have places where bands go in, places to eat, meeting spaces, and they also have a museum and a multicultural center, and also the alumni from the university can go to LBJ and visit the center as well. Now, not only that, there are lots of schools in America that are called after LBJ. Now we've got a high school in Austin, Texas, a high school in Johnson City, Texas, and a high school in Laredo, Texas, all called Lyndon Baines Johnson High School. There's a middle school, Lyndon B. Johnson Middle School in Melbourne, Florida, and also other buildings there's buildings in we've got, of course, the LBJ Student Center where I went to school. We've got the Lyndon Baines Johnson Tropical Medical Center. So we've got hospitals, we have got education buildings, Lyndon Baines Johnson Department of Education building in Washington, D.C. Also parks. There are parks throughout Texas. We've got Lake Lyndon B. Johnson, which is a lake in Texas. Got Lyndon B. Johnson National Grassland, which is a huge park in Texas. And of course, the Memorial Grove on the Potomac, Lyndon Baines Johnson Memorial Grove on the Potomac in Washington, D.C., and throughout Lyndon Baines Johnson Freeway, which is a freeway in Dallas, Texas. So he was named after a lot of prominent, buildings, highways, schools, and it was a bit of I guess his legacy, it was sort of, it started popular, being, of course, taking on the job after Kennedy was assassinated. He got a lot of support, but what he went through, he was really forward thinking with the Civil Rights Act, but there were people who didn't like it. They didn't like it. So there were lots of protests during that time, civil rights unrest, but he did make a huge difference. Vietnam War was not popular, and that's what made him decide not to run for a second term after the Vietnam War. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about that, Lyndon Baines Johnson and the Student Center. Now, I worked at the original Student Center right here in the 80s. I was the candy girl, and I loved it. It was a great job for me. And when I was there, I just wanted to show you a picture of one more friend. So I've got my picture here. So right here is my high school girlfriend, Cindy, but right next to her is my friend, Franz, who is originally from Sri Lanka, but having a name like Franz and me being German, I automatically liked him. And he worked at the LBJ Center as well, so we developed a bit of a friendship. And what's great about that, he immigrated to New Zealand around the same time that I immigrated to Australia. So we have kept in touch, and I visited him in New Zealand, and he's visited me here in Australia. So there you go. You meet people in your life, and then they come back. And so I thought I would share those things about Southwest Texas State and LBJ being named everywhere and the sort of president that he was. So I hope you've enjoyed this show, and thank you so much, Lou, for watching. I'm so, so grateful. This is day 36 of my 77 live video challenge, Heart and Soul with Evelyn. I look forward to your company tomorrow. Almost halfway there. I'm sure, Lou, you're getting excited. See you soon. Bye.